welcome to another episode of our show. Um, how are you guys doing? Hope you all are doing well. With you today, I am Ishti and Ashik Rahman. So, Ashik,
Hello,
how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm actually cool, though I'm a bit sick today.
Oh, that's
But
sad.
but we're going to get our podcast through anyhow.
Definitely.
So, so recently, what have you been up to?
Nothing much actually. As usual, doing like YouTube and focusing on studies and all. Hmm. What else do you expect?
So that's our life right now. That's how we are ruling right now. So today we have come together to discuss about the first date, what to do in our first date, and how everything should go on with the flow. So Ashik, tell me, how would you prepare yourself initially for the first date of your life?
Yep, it's been a long time that I have been in a first date because you only get a first date once in your new
Yeah,
relationship,
that's a very rare thing.
unless you do hundreds of relationships. So that's a different thing. But what I would say is that in a first date, you are basically giving a first impression, not really a first impression, but it's like more of your time. So the other person would have more of your, absorb more of who you are. So it is as important as the first impression. So I would like to prepare very well if I'm going on a first date with someone, and that would probably first of all involve going to the gym the night before. That night, flex your biceps or something. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pump up.
The reason you go to the gym is because whatever you are wearing, t-shirt or shirt, it looks good on you. The point is you try your best and to look good and give a first impression, like good vibe and stuff on the first impression. So what you do is, what I like to do is go work out or something, wear something good, take a shower. Obviously you don't want to smell, get a good kind of a hairstyle, because one of the things that girls like the first time, like when they see someone close up, it's their hairstyle.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, decent cologne, like not like unisex body spray or anything. Use something good that guys wear, and don't overdo that, because that might repel the other person away. You never know what kind of smell, like how sensitive her nose is. So don't
I
overdo
find
anything. That's
girls.
the point. And
Yeah, I
do you
find
know what is
girls.
the most important thing that you had to wear on the first date?
What?
Confidence.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's a priceless thing to buy from the shop, right?
Yep.
You don't really get that.
You can't buy. You have to grow that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So with this point, like when you are all ready, mentally ready and physically ready as well. So when you go on with your date, you meet her. So what kind of place do you actually take her to?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
That's a very good
Saudi
question.
or not?
And like, this should be something that you decide on the time that you are asking her out, because if you don't know where you're taking, then obviously, I mean, you wouldn't be able to take her because you don't know where you're taking her. So you should
Yeah.
decide, as a guy, you should know where you want to take her. She might suggest a place, or you might want to take her suggestion, or you might want to hear if she likes your suggestion or not. If he has a problem where you want to take her, you might change a place, but you should definitely know where you want to take her. Now, where do you want to take her? Where should you take her? First of all, you have to understand that the first date, or the purpose of the first date, is basically to know what kind of a person she is. Like, does she vibe with you? Is she a toxic person? Are you a toxic person? So in order to know that, you have to talk to her, and for that you need to get her somewhere which is kind of calm and silent. For example, a cafe or a restaurant. I don't really recommend somewhere which is expensive because it's your first date. No matter how interested you are in her, you do not know whether she is interested in you as much as you are interested in her. So even if you are the son of Bill Gates, I do not recommend you take her to a very expensive place, because that's not how girls find guys interesting unless she is a gold digger. So the point of a first date is to get to know her. So go take her to a place which is kind of a silent with light music or something, and you would be able to ask her questions and she would be able to say something and you would be able to hear each other. You are able to listen to each other. Don't take her to a movie or something. Don't take her to a, I don't know, any kind of a place where you are not able to talk, because that would ruin.
Or maybe somewhere where there is a really loud noise or music.
Yeah.
Concert.
Don't take her to a super loud concert or don't take her to a restaurant where there is a live music and sit next to the speaker.
Yeah, exactly. We need silence, and we need to have focus on each other's talk.
Now, along that line, you might not also want to take her to a super private place, because this is the first date. She might not feel that comfortable because you're a stranger. Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you're not a stranger, you might be her classmate or co-worker. I don't know if you have workplace romance thing available. But the point is, you might be a psychopath. She doesn't know that, so she might not feel as secure with you on the first date. So take her to a nice place, public place. She might feel comfortable, but make sure that it is kind of a silent and you can listen to her.
All right, now let's talk about the casualty, like when you're about to pick her up for the date, or when you're about to just meet her on the place of date. How do you greet her with? Do you take any forms of gifts for her?
Oh, that's a very important question, and most guys miss that. Do not really understand that. What guys like to do is overdo stuff. The point is, the way to attract the lady is to not overdo anything, not do anything at all. I mean, not anything. It's just don't overdo anything. For example, you do not buy a gift on the first date. That shows that you are head over heels in love with her. You do not want to show that. You want to be the person who is a trophy or a catch. She is the person, or the lady is supposed to chase you, not the other way around. You have to understand that. If she is chasing you, that means you are not chasing her, and the relationship or dating experience would be super smooth, because she would be the one who's taking steps to impress you. And that basically means you are in charge. Okay? So the point is not being in charge. The point is not being in charge. The point is to attract her. And that is how ladies get attracted to guys. I'm not telling you to be like a super in charge kind of a guy, super possessive, super macho and stuff like that. Obviously, if you are like that, there's no problem. The point is not to control her, not to manipulate her. The point is to attract her, and that is how ladies feel attracted to guys. So when I say that don't overdo anything, do not buy her gifts or anything, that basically shows that you are a catch. She is not the end of the world. Okay, so once you give up that vibe that you are a trophy, she would try to win you over, not the other way around.
So that's gonna be the catch. That's gonna be the main catch that she needs, and as guys, we need as well. So when you have met her and you've sat together, you guys are definitely going to talk.
Well, I think I missed something. You asked about what do I do when I first meet her. The point is, ideally, you should probably have a car or Uber or any ride or something, and you should pick her up from her house or maybe her workplace, depending on whether she's comfortable with that, riding with you. If not, at least tell her to come to that certain place where you want to meet, that restaurant or something, and say that let's meet up at that place at that time. So when she comes, you get up and greet her. That's like common courtesy. The point
Yeah,
is, you
definitely.
have to be a gentleman. You have to show that you are a gentleman. You have to be a gentleman. That gives off a vibe, even if you don't say anything to her. If you are a gentleman, that gives off a vibe. So if you do the right things, for example, greet her politely, hold out the chair for her, take the action. Don't just like keep asking her, oh, where do you want to eat? Oh, where do you want to sit? Don't do that. You are the guy. You should know where you want to eat, where you want to sit, where you want to shit, and stuff like that. So you should know. Don't keep asking her, because ladies like it when the guy is taking the charge, or maybe when the guy is leading. To be the leader, these small things are what sets you apart from all the other guys. When I'm saying be a leader, don't be a political leader or Donald Trump or something like that. Be a leader of all those small things, because the small things matter, little things matter.
Okay, so talking about to what to talk about or not talk about in the date, actually, when you're talking to her, what are the exact points do you get out of her, and what are the exact points that you get off from yourself?
Well, so the point of the date is, as I said, you have to know the person. Your target is to know her, not the other way around. So, what you do is you ask her questions and talk about the topics what she might be interested in. If you do not know what she might be interested in, ask her questions. Directly ask her, what do you like? If you run out of questions, there is a list of 36 questions on Google and stuff that claim that if you have a conversation about those questions, the other person, you guys might fall in love with each other. That's not the point. If you want, you can refer to that if you want. The point is, you are the one who's supposed to be asking questions, and when you are doing that, you are the person who's leading the conversation. It is always important to lead, or the person to lead if you're a guy, if this is a date or in any relationship. If you're a guy, you're the person who's supposed to lead, and that's what women like, believe it or not. So
Okay.
so when you are asking the questions, you are basically leading the conversation. Plus point is, you don't have to act like an interesting person. You don't have to um, give away or tell her what all the interesting things you have done. That takes a lot of pressure out from yourself, because you don't have a pressure. You are not stressed out to impress her. You are basically asking her questions and let her impress you. You don't have to be the cool guy around here. The fun thing is, if you do not say anything about yourself, if you're asking questions to her, and then if she asks you back, what about you? What you do is, you give a funny reply. Do not give away the correct answer. I mean, I'm not saying lie to her or something. Give her a funny answer and keep her thinking. So if you ask her, what do you like to eat? Or something more serious, and then she gives you her answer, and then she asks you the same question back, what you do is you say something funny and change the topic. That way, over the whole duration of the date, she would not find out exactly what you are or who you are. That would keep her interested. Be the mysterious guy, James Bond kind of thing.
Okay. So that is definitely going to keep her interested in you. And talking about interests, these are the things that you actually go on with the conversation with. But what are the exact things that you actually do not talk in your first date?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, what you do not talk about, you have to know that as good as what to talk about. Actually, you don't need to know what to talk about. You just ask questions about her, because you're genuinely interested to know her and see if she's actually a good fit or not for you.
Yeah.
What you don't talk about, first of all, don't talk about heavy topics on the first date. For example, name something: religion, politics, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, shit like that. Don't talk about heavy topics on the first date, because these are the things that different people might have different views about. Of course, if that matters to you a lot, then if you think that political views and religious stuff matters to you, and you cannot date someone further if that person is does not agree with you on those political views, then obviously by all means ask those questions to her. But if you are really interested in her and you are a really open-minded person, stop asking or stop talking about all those heavy kind of topics, because nobody agrees on those topics, because these depend on beliefs. Okay, so also, you do not talk about your ex, your past relationships. Even if you're single, do not tell her that I'm like single as fuck. Don't do that. Okay, do not talk about her boyfriends or boyfriends. I mean, boyfriend or boyfriends or past relationships. Okay, if she's interested in you, she would end up with you. If she had a boyfriend, she would not probably come onto a date with you.
Yeah.
Even if she has a boyfriend, she might be on the verge of breaking up with him and see if you are that kind of a guy and get into a relationship with you. Okay, so she's probably testing out the waters. You don't know. Okay, there's a high probability that she does not have a boyfriend. That's why she is on a date with you. Okay, the point is she is interested in you. So do not ask her about her boyfriend. Do not cry and tell all your stories about past exes and stuff. The reason is that if you badmouth your ex, that basically gives off the vibe to her that you are a bitchy kind of a person, and she would feel like that at some point, if you guys break up after a relationship, then you might badmouth her, and she doesn't want that. If you talk about your friends or best friend's secrets with her, she would not feel safe or trust you with her secrets, because you are basically an open book. So don't talk about your stuff, your friend's stuff, about her past relationships. Don't talk about this topic. There are 100 different funny topics to talk about. Like, believe it or not, I talked about black holes on my first date. Like, I don't recommend that, but you don't know who's interested in what, so that's better than talking about your ex.
It definitely depends on her, the type of her that you're going to talk to. If she's like a really Bollywood fan, then I think talking about Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan would be really good on that. Yeah. So now I have a very important question for you, and personally I'm a really foodie guy, and so with that said, I'd like to ask you, what type of food do you actually order in your first date?
You have to understand that you don't know that person yet, so you cannot spend money on her. You must not. So what you do is, you do not order expensive food yet. You go and ask her out and take her to a coffee date in, like, very coffee, tea, drinks, or whatever inexpensive. You start off something very inexpensive. It does not show that you are a cheap person. It shows that you're just casually talking. And for me personally, I don't want to take her to a place where I have like a very juicy burger and pizza in front of me and then eat it like, with my whole... I want to be focused on her. I want to know about her. I don't want to get food and stuff, music to interfere and be a cock block between us, right? So I would eat something very inexpensive. After that, if you guys buy, then order dinner or something, whatever is up to you. But that's what I would do.
Okay, so and now about the more specific thing. Actually, you get the restaurants open from morning till night. So when do you think is the perfect time to take her out?
Well, ideally, night kind of or evening dinner, evening coffee or a night dinner would be the ideal time for a date. But most of you guys, who are starting out, you guys have like office work and job and stuff, so probably lunch. I don't recommend lunch at all, but if that's what you have time, she has time, then obviously go for lunch or whatever. But ideally, evening or later in the day would be a good time to take her out on a date. But if you guys are time constrained, then I do not recommend at night or something. Like that's the last resort, like lunch or something. But if it is possible at all, go for evening time for a date, because that's when most people are free or available. I don't want you to like bunk your classes, bunk your office work or anything for the date, because your purpose, your passion is more important than a person. You have to understand that. That's what makes
Yeah,
you attractive.
yeah, definitely. So with that said, with by the end of the date, actually, what note do you want to let out to her in her mind about you?
Well, so at the end of the date, you have to understand that on the first date, you want to keep her interested in you for a long time to come if you're that interested in her. So
Yeah,
you cannot give away everything about you by the date. So at the end of the date, your target should be to make her feel that when she goes home, she would feel like, what the hell? I told her everything about me. I don't know anything about him. Okay, that's strange. That would make her think about him. Like, okay, why don't I know anything about him? He did reply to my questions, but then at the end of the day, I do not know anything about him. So that would be the ideal scenario. Now, at the end of the date, you can say her goodbye, but do not say that let's meet up again on that time, that day. I mean, you don't have to do that. You don't have to ask out for a second date, or don't ask her when shall we meet again. That would show that you are super interested in her. The point is to keep her thinking about you, whether you are interested in her or not. That is the ideal scenario if you are a guy. So when you say goodbye, what you do is do not tell her if, like, I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna whatever, see you again and stuff like that. She will need to think. Of course, you're gonna do that at some point, but don't tell her that. She needs to think about it. If she replies to you at the end of the day, if she texts you or calls you that I really had a great time, you have to be fun, like non-challenge. Don't say, oh, I had a great time as well.
or it has
Of
been the
course.
best date of my
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah. Don't say that. That basically shows that you are a loser. You never have been to a date with a good girl or a nice girl. So you should be okay with you. You reply that, yeah, I had a nice time as well. Great. After that, you probably ask her on a second date or something, but not right away. And um, that's one thing. However, if you guys really have time and are really connecting, and you guys have a lot of signs and stuff, you can see the signs that she's giving that she's really interested in you. If you are in a Western kind of a country where kissing is common or normal, then go for the kiss on the lips. If she turns around her face, gives you her cheek, that's a kiss of goodbye. That's the kiss of like friendly kind of a kiss. You are friend zone, you are dead. If you are in more of a Eastern country, like um, more conservative country, then probably that won't work. Nowadays, people are more advanced, like more Western, but probably you might be from somewhere where that doesn't work yet. But the other points still apply. Don't say that you're super interested in her and stuff like that. At some point after the end of second or third date, you might try and kiss her, if not the first date. If you can, if she's giving all the signs, definitely go for it. Okay, so
Okay. Okay, so what it seems, you really need to have that impression within your first date, so that
yep.
she keeps on asking for more dates, and she actually mainly should ask from the mind and should desire strongly for the next dates.
There would
Okay,
be signs,
so
and we're probably going to talk about in another episode that you have to read the signs all the time from the beginning. So
yeah, reading woman, reading a girl is like a really important thing to be in a relationship successfully, keeping it last long. And we're going to talk about it in our future episode really soon. So with all these points set, we would like to conclude this episode. This has been your Fancy That podcast, and we have been your hosts. Thank you for listening to us. See you again in the next episode.